It's been a long time coming, but totally worth the wait. Our ambassadors are on point. In episode 10, we are interviewing artistic director, choreographer and CEO to AkomaAsa. And since making this episode, one of our ambassadors, Jace, is now playing Simba in the West End's The Lion King. You gotta watch it, you gotta listen to know what I'm talking about. Here's what's coming up.
I believed in myself when I got a DTL, which means down the line if you want to know what it means. When I first got my DTL, I was like, oh, I can. So I believe in myself now. I can progress more and try to get in the show.
It's empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that moment of yours was also an empowering moment. The experience and the ability and the skills to do the job. Period. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that you should not be judged on your colour of your skin, the country that you come from. So these are only some of the challenges, and they're ongoing, you know.
Powerful, really powerful. And for me, I feel quite emotional actually.
I can see on everybody's faces of how interested they are in the stories, and personally I am as well. So I'm going to have to ask you another question.
Fire away. Don't hone the Caribbean into Jamaica, and everybody talks about Jamaica as the Caribbean. Do you understand what I'm saying? Different dances.
You look like you're itching to say something.
Also, linking to your point as well, because we watched like a documentary at the Cub Academy, and it said all the beads are from Africa. Which part of Africa?
Okay, and that's a brilliant question.
Unique, beautiful way that you just bring in ballet, contemporary, jazz, African, the drums, like the genre in your piece of music, in your performance piece is absolutely jaw-dropping.
I used to be a bit shy, but now like when I see you do stuff, I just know that she can do it, then I can do it as well.
I'd like to say you're a bold, really strong and bold woman.
Oh, Jace, you need to come here. Thank you. We're in partnership with Central School of Ballet.
KJ Podcast, time to listen to what's going on. KJ in the house, talking about it.
Hello, I'm Karen Jones, aka Kaz, and this is the KJ Podcast. Today I am co-hosting with two of BAMM, Bennu Ambassadors for Mind Matters.
Hello.
Our guest today I've known for well over like 20 years. We've known each other.
Yes.
She's an artist and has been in the performing arts industry for over 30 years. She is the founder and artistic director to AkomaAsa, a dance, music and performing arts organisation for young people. Our list is long about you. She is also
in education, theatre and community arts.
Plus a dance lecturer, and
She's been a casting director for Disney's West End musical The Lion King and the Cub Academy coordinator.
what can we say? I have more to that list. She's also a mentor. Plus, she partners internationally with Ghana, taking young people abroad. It is super happy. We are really pleased to welcome. I'm also humbled to be in the presence of Akosua Boakye.
Thank you.
Great.
I shall hire you guys to present me every time.
Oh, lovely, excellent. Yeah, we're up for the job. So we have some questions for you, and we all have our little pads. And I suppose, you know, what drew you to dance? Let's dive in with your background. Yeah.
Do you know, I was born here, and I went to Ghana at a very early age with my parents, and I grew up in Ghana. I was up there till about my formative years, 8 years old, and while there, our culture, music and dance, intertwine, intermarriage, inseparable, and every occasion has dance and music involved, and so naturally for me, I took to dance naturally. So every time there's an event, I'm on the dance floor and I'm dancing, I'm enjoying it and so forth. Growing up here from since I was 8 years old, in primary school the same. So informally, I was very much engaged in dance and dancing. And so when I finished secondary school at the time of my GCSE stage, I wanted to make a decision as to which direction I wanted to go into. And I tried athletics initially because at school I did your netball, your long distance running, your hockey, your badminton, I did all that. And so I wanted to engage in that. And then I found when I started training, it wasn't creative in the way that I found dance and music and movement. And so I came away from doing it and then decided to follow dance. And so I started looking for schools, and that time internet was just sort of really getting into the homes and so forth. And so I didn't even have a personal phone, it was all computers at that time. And so I found some schools, and the 3 schools that I came across were Laban, The Place, and Northern. And so I went and started taking classes. I was dancing every day except Saturday, because I was working on that day, and I was training to try and get myself an audition to go into the schools. So for me, what drew me was just the love for dance. Dance was in my heart, it's in my life. And so I then auditioned and got into Laban at the time, and that's when my journey started at Laban, by taking what we call formal dance, because you can dance socially in the community, at parties, at events and so forth with family. But when I started my dance was taking my formal dance and bringing it, my informal dance, and bringing it together with my formal dance to now develop what I do now in life. So yeah, it was just generally just my love for dance as a cultural form.
Excellent, thank you. And just watching your faces, hearing Akosua speak, it's like wow. But it was also interesting when you mentioned the internet, like just starting. We come from a generation where there wasn't an internet. Yes. Brilliant. Your journey, it's fascinating, really interesting and inspiring. And I suppose, how did your journey evolve over the years?
So in my first year at Laban, I met a lady called Thea Narissa Barnes. Thea Narissa Barnes was my Graham dance teacher, Graham technique dance teacher. And she also then later on became a mentor. And I told her, we were having a tutorial, and I said, I'm really loving what I'm doing at Laban, but I want more. You know, I want more than just ballet and just contemporary. I would like to engage in my African forms, and engage in Caribbean dance forms. I want to do, jazz as well and so forth. And so, Thea was like, well, if you want to do that and you want to teach it and you want to run your own school, you're going to need a degree. And at that time, I was doing a diploma. So I continued till the end of my first year of my diploma, which was supposed to be, I think it was either 2 or 3 years. It was a performance diploma. And I went to Morley College with a lady that Thea put me in the hands of. Her name was Jane Carr. Jane Carr was leaving Laban at that time to go and teach and head the dance program at Morley. And so after 1 year, I deferred and went to Morley's, and I did a foundation course that included dance, and it included social policy and administration. Social policy administration is when you learn about all the government institutions, whether it's the police, whether it's the nursing, whether it's housing and education and so forth. And that's what I did, a foundation in dance and social policy and administration, because I was thinking about, if I want a degree, what other subjects can I combine it with? And so then I went to Morley College after a year, and this was under the support and the mentorship at that time then of Thea and Jane, who supported me through that journey. And when I finished my 1 year at Morley College, I couldn't go back to Laban at that time because the government wasn't funding and helping people to pay their fees. So I was supported and made an application to Roehampton Institute. And with Roehampton Institute, I went to do dance, and social policy and administration, continuing from what I had done there. And it's interesting. It's like, oh, why would you want to learn about the government institutions? That's what's helping me in my business now. Knowing about the different organizations and the different institutions that govern education as well. So I did 3 years at Roehampton Institute, and there I was under people like Erica Stanton. And these names might not mean very much to you at this stage in time, but it was great. I mean, I was taught choreography by Dale Thompson at the time. And while I was at Laban for the year, and when I finished at Laban and moved on to Morley College and Roehampton, I was so fortunate to meet all these people I talked about, Thea and Jane Carr and Erica Stanton. Stuart Thomas was another big name in dance, who is based at Dance Works, who gave me the biggest opportunity, one of the biggest opportunities in my life. He taught me how to teach. He showed me the different ways of learning and teaching and communicating, which supported me when I did my teaching degree to be able to support and teach how I teach today. And he gave me the opportunity. Whenever he traveled, I took over his classes when I learnt the ways of teaching and learning, and to develop my dance practice, my way of teaching and supporting people. So he was another person for me who's been instrumental in my life. And so yeah.
And for me, hearing that story, before we start this interview, we were talking about sort of you being a mentor, just having like a general conversation. And so because he's saying here is there are these people, they've also had that sort of mentoring role in her life. So do you get what I was saying about mentoring?
Yeah.
And I just really want to say one thing that's just so... I talked to Thea Barnes, and Thea Barnes, there's a thread.
Yes.
Okay, because he's met Thea Barnes. He met Thea Barnes. You were quite a young child, weren't you? Probably under 5 or around that particular age.
Wow.
And his brother trained under Thea Barnes as well.
Excellent.
Because his brother was a Simba in the West End and in the UK tour for the Lion King.
And I'm auditioning for it as well.
Yes, so
Fantastic.
he's doing the training program as well. So it's interesting how the power of all these people, their energy, their spirits connect through myself, gets passed on, and still they live in us.
Yes. We're certainly going to be thinking about you in your audition. But okay, so moving on, when we think about these moments in your career and your growth, I'm just wondering, are there sort of like a special moment or a special experience that sort of solidified and shaped your career as a dancer, a choreographer and an artistic director?
I think for me there are many moments, and the many moments, one of them I've mentioned in regards to Thea Barnes, one of them I mentioned in regards to Stuart Thomas and so forth, but I also met people along the way. One other person is Tara Herbert and Michelle Biner. Now, when I finished my qualification in my dance degree, I knew straight away I wanted to teach, because that came from the conversation I had with Thea Barnes when I was a student. So I followed that path. And I was teaching generally in the community and in schools and so forth. And there was somebody who I went to university with. Her name is Rebecca Bogue, and Rebecca said, I'm teaching here. It's a friend I really would love you to meet. And her name is Tara Herbert. And Tara at the time, along with Michelle, they were leading and they were head of departments at Kensington and Chelsea College. So Rebecca Bogue introduced me to them, and I started, I applied for variable hours teaching. It means that I get a certain hours. They might call it 0 hours now, but I get a certain number of hours to teach. And I started teaching contemporary there. And over time, I built up my knowledge, my skills and experience, and I was given the opportunity to teach as a part-time teacher. For me, that was a change in my life, in my journey, because now I am teaching people that are on a qualification that need to have certain outcomes to engage in the profession, similar to my journey and so forth. And so for me, that was a really life-changing time. And then one of them was also when Thea Barnes approached me saying the Lion King is about to start a new training program and whether I'd like to make an application to work with children. And that for me was also another defining period in my life, because it gave me the chance to support other young people to engage in arts training and to help them build their confidence about themselves and their abilities and what they can do. And there's nothing more joyous than being able to support other people when you've had the support to share those experiences and so forth. The other was also starting the Academy as a summer program. It started off as a summer program that when I did it in partnership with another organization, and then I realized, oh my goodness, this is what I've said I wanted to do all this time. And so I took a pause after the sort of first pilot and thought about it, and that was 2013 I thought about it after we did the pilot 2012. And then 2014 I started it as a summer school for, I think it was 2 weeks, started a summer school. And then we kept doing it, parents kept asking for longer, and we just continued keeping doing it, putting all sorts of forms in there. And we then launched it fully in 2014 and just started going on there. And then 2017 we launched a Saturday program of the summer school, and then continued the summer school. And these were real defining periods. One other was also when I started introducing my body in language, my dance form and my dance technique into a BTEC dance training program at Kensington and Chelsea College, when I became later on the dance director of Kensington and Chelsea College. And this was some years after, in 2005, after Tara Herbert had moved on to go and do Dance United with Michelle, and I became the dance director, the head of dance, and then later the head of performing arts, music and drama at Kensington and Chelsea. So those changes were very defining moments within my career that ended up supporting me to build on this particular academy that we're at now.
Excellent, excellent. And just seeing, how early those seeds were sort of just being planted. And when you talk about your skills and your early dancing and how that's influenced you, I'm just wondering, there are just so many sort of pockets that you can draw upon. And what would you say how you bring that into your approach of how you work today?
The various skills you're talking about.
Absolutely, yes, because there are so many.
Yeah, there's so many
you've picked up, and you've had so many people that have come and influenced, and the different opportunities and the doors that have opened for you to develop and grow your path as an artistic director, as a dancer, as a choreographer.
For me, one main one that I think sometimes we take for granted is the art of communication. To be able to make connections with people, to be able to communicate. And that starts with leading yourself. It starts in believing in yourself, believing in what you can do, and not compromising negatively on that. Does that make sense? And not comparing yourself to other people. Because if you look at us in this space, we are 4 very different and unique people. We have different energies, different personalities, and all that must be celebrated. So for me, my ability to communicate and connect, understand, and over the years you learn to listen. We got ears, we hear, but we don't always listen in a kind of deep way. Over the years you learn to listen, and the ability to just connect with people and exchange and try and understand yourself before you can even begin to understand somebody else. So that's one of, for me, the various skills, the one of the skills. And the other, for me also, is, it's crazy, but I love administration. Administration skills. Because that's what helped me to start the business. Because when you begin, you're a bit like an octopus. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. For a short period of time, that's fine. But as the ideas or the vision, or the project grows, it's not sustainable because you start to lose quality and so forth and things like that. But to understand how to communicate, whether that communication is by writing letters, whether that communication is creating templates, whether that communication is emailing people and so forth, whatever way you are able to communicate without verbally behind the scenes, learning how to plan, how to organize, how to develop and plan your lesson plan that communicates what you're going to teach, being able to assess, being able to write reflections and reviews. Planning and administration, arts administration is really key. When you're dancing, you learn it along the way. It's really, and those kind of things for me are really important.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I was taking a moment to think about when you said you liked administration. I thought, do I like administration? And there's a part of me that does, if I'm organised and I sit down and have that time.
Yeah.
And I love administration because I also love stationery. So I like being old school.
I love stationery. I love all the colours.
The colours and absolutely yes.
Yeah.
All the different colours. So in that respect, I do really enjoy it. But we're going to move on to our ambassadors, BAMM, Bennu Ambassadors for My Matters, because they have some questions for you.
Well, first of all, hello, my name's Olivia and I'm with my friend here.
My name is Chase, and we're gonna ask. We're interviewing Miss Akosua to ask her some questions as well. But before we do, we are really excited to hear more of your story and how you shaped AkomaAsa to what it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that first story of yours is absolutely inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
So my first question is, what made you start AkomaAsa?
I started AkomaAsa because when I started dancing formally meaning going into a dance institution to train, I was one of less than 5 students in my year group that was of African heritage, African Caribbean heritage. And also what I was being taught, I naturally moved in a particular way. No matter how much training I had, whenever I choreographed, in regards to the love of how I move, I went back into that way of moving. When I needed to dance a particular way, if it was a contemporary dance technique, I was able to dance that. I was happy dancing that, but I wanted more. And so when I then did a bit of research and looked at some of the other schools and looked at the dance sector, there were companies at the time that were performing and drawing from African and Caribbean dance forms and so forth. Irie dance, Kokuma, mass movers, lots of various other, and there's lots of artists doing that, and this was companies. So what the companies were doing at the time is that whatever little funding, I'm going to use that word little, funding that they received at the time, while they are developing the work, they are having to train the dancers at the same time to embody the technique and to embody the form. So let's say if they had 15 dancers, maybe 8 of them were proficient and so forth, but if they needed more and the combination weren't always a combination of people who were skilled, they were having to train them as they did develop the work, and that's very difficult. Whereas if you look at the ballet form, if you look at the contemporary form in this country, there are thousands of people trained in that. And any ballet company or any contemporary company can put on an audition and draw the dancers and have the kind of caliber of dancers they want. And so although schools were happening, they were happening in pockets of holiday intensives and summer holidays. And there wasn't a school that is dedicated to training dancers who work with those forms of African influences. So whether that would be even hip-hop as an African form that's derived from an African form influence within Europe and Americas and so forth, your jazz, the same and so forth. There wasn't a school that is entirely dedicated that you can have those as well as your African forms, whether that has to be also your Afrobeat influenced dance techniques and so forth, or your African contemporary. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to become a teacher and to become somebody who then finds and develops a school where you can come in. You don't have to decide what you want to do yet, but you can experience your African influenced dance techniques, from Afro to African contemporary dance, African diaspora forms, to your hip hop, to your jazz, to your ballet, to your different kind of contemporary forms. Because within contemporary dance, you've got Graham technique, you've got Limon technique, you've got Horton, you've got Humphrey. There's various other techniques, and this is also what you have within your African forms that may not be named and codified, but they exist. So I wanted a school where people can come and engage in those forms, and when they're ready later on, decide what they want to do in the future. So here you can have, in this school, you can have your ballet, you can also have your jazz, you can have your contemporary form, you can have your hip hop, you can have your contemporary African, you can have your Afro dance and so forth. And we've worked in the past with Brazilian dance as well and so forth. So yeah, that's the idea, to introduce those who want to come into dance into the various dance forms, and to help them prepare for their development for the future, so that they can really be able to compete when they go to auditions, you know, for the institutions as well. Okay.
So they just don't so they get actually do something active if they don't already do, like
That's
just
right.
stay in bed and just game all day and
Yes,
stuff like that.
well, that's what's, yeah, you're right. Some people do that. So to do something physically active as well, yeah.
And my second question is, what does the name AkomaAsa mean?
This is an interesting one. So I always say I'm an African, I'm a West African, I'm a Ghanaian, I'm from the Akan group of people. Within the Akan, I'm an Asante. And the language that we speak, Asante language, as well as the Asante people, is also entitled Tree. Do you want to say Tree?
Tree.
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 That's it. And it's spelled T-W-I. And the word Akoma means my heart. My love for dance, my love for movement. And the word Asa is the word in tree for dance. So AkomaAsa. It's because it's my love for dance and movement and music is what led me into this journey. And it's very prominent, important in my life, and that's why I chose the name. It took me a very long time to decide. I was doing what I was doing before I even decided that's going to be the name. And you have to allow yourself the time and space to think, to try it, to get it right, to get it wrong, and not be rushed. Because this is not a dress rehearsal, this is it. So you've got to go through it in order to find, it finds you as much as you find it. So it's not a quick, British Got Talent X Factor moment. Your life is something that you have to work at. The things you're thinking about, the names, the approaches, the ideas, is something that you've got to allow yourself time to become at one with. And the universe is there with you doing it. And so when time comes, you know it. And there's nothing that changes it. You know it. And for me, the AkomaAsa, I knew it when I knew it. So that's where the name came from. Yeah.
That's a really good speech.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Over to Olivia.
Now, can I just say one thing before I ask you the question?
Anything.
Because I remember when I first joined here, well, not when it was my first day, but my parents hadn't just randomly seen you on news or something. It was because once I was with my mom, I think you might remember this, and I was going on my way, and then you were in your car, you was like, wait, stop. And then you gave me a file for The Lion King, and my mom was, And you're like, wait, how old is your daughter? And my mom was like, 8. That was like 2 years ago now. And my mom was like, and when I saw the file for The Lion King, I knew at that moment that I wanted to start acting, I wanted to start in the theatre. Because I hadn't even read it. Yeah, I hadn't even read the file. My mom was still reading it. And I was like, I was so happy.
I remember, because you were asking me questions, you were doing the interview. I was stopping to interview them, and she took over from her mother and interviewed me.
Oh,
so it was
wow.
wonderful. I do remember, because you were asking all sorts of questions, weren't you? Yeah.
Because I was just so shocked, and I was not expecting it, and I was just, when I got home, I was like, I don't even know how to say how happy I was, but I had showed my dad and my sister, and my parents my dad didn't understand what it was about, because I thought that, because at that time I thought that I wanted to be a gymnast and stuff like that. And then actually when it was in order that I got in the academy, is because when I had auditioned for The Lion King, well, I wasn't ready yet to actually be in it. So then I got signed up to join the academy, and even though I wasn't in the show The Lion King, I was still super happy that I got to join the academy, and that's when I knew that my career was to be acting.
So she's talking about a moment, and you asked me about various moments, and that's why for me there's so many. I've met so many children who that conversation alone has sparked that thinking that I actually want to get involved in this. And that for her, has been quite a defining meeting, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. And then I think it was after that you reached out and, you started applying for here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And for you to just share and articulate that in such a pleasant and beautiful way. Yeah. We are humbled in front of both of you. It's fantastic.
And also speaking about the Cub Academy, the first time I joined, I was really nervous. I had confidence. I had some confidence, but I had a feeling I wouldn't get as far as I did right now, because if I'm auditioning for it again, this is going to be my 4th time or 3rd time I'm going to do it. That means I've progressed more than I thought I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believed in myself. When I got a DTL, which means down the line if you want to know what it means, when I first got my DTL, I was like, oh, I can. So I believe in myself now. I can progress more and try to get in the show.
It's empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that moment of yours was also an empowering moment as well. But you had a question for me, didn't you?
Yes.
And also, I'm just going to kind of
we're getting excited.
I know, just hearing these conversations, because it's recognising that you are not giving up, and you are trying again.
That's right.
And you are believing in yourself. And then when you were saying, I knew that I wasn't ready, and it's identifying that, and you, Chase, coaching again. This is what it's all about, and this is what I think that we need more of in this industry with children and young people. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, go for it. Your next question.
So, what challenges did you face when starting AkomaAsa, and how did you overcome them?
Well, you know what? Some challenges are ongoing. And there are, naturally in life, as human beings, there are challenges. One, for me, of the challenges that I face, and I still face that, is that within the sector and within this country, African and Caribbeans have contributed, or I say people of African and Caribbean heritage, have contributed to the fabric of what makes this country what it is. And if you look into every avenue, we are contributing to the infrastructure of what this country is. And dance and music does not escape that. And so when you look at this aspect of dance, the schools that train people to dance are only now, since 2020, if I can be so bold even to say that, are only now developing and including curriculum that offers dance forms that are influenced by Africa and the Caribbean, or cultural dance that comes away from the Western dance forms. 4 years.
Yeah.
If you look back,
nodding away. I'm just nodding away.
if you look back to how long people of African heritage, when I say African heritage, I'm talking about ourselves as also Caribbeans, have been in this country. When we take a look at Windrush, and I'm going to use that word also, the Windrush scandal. So there's things I'm sure that have not been unearthed yet, but the one of the challenges is ensuring that this form can be accessed and can be visible and can be supported within education, within the community, within the commercial sector, and be credited and valued just like other forms of dance. When I talk about that, which is the most dominant ones, which are your ballets and your contemporaries and so forth. This is a really huge challenge, and that's something I've been doing. When Kaz said, you know, she's known me for over 20 years and I've been in this, you know, over 30 years. That's been my work. That's been my work. And so I spent 14 years teaching at university, delivering African contemporary dance. I call it contemporary African diaspora dance, so it's CAD, C-A-D-D. And I was teaching that, and that's what I deliver and teach here. That's the language that I choreograph in, with the influence of my Western dance training as well. So that's one challenge. The challenge where institutions have not cared to include. Now let's understand that institutions have a vision. If it's a ballet institution, it's a ballet institution, and that's what they're focusing on. If it's a contemporary dance institution, it's a contemporary dance institution, that's what they're focusing on. But there have been other people in the past who have wanted to also develop what I have developed, but have not been given the support, the recognition, or the value in order for that to exist. So now, if we look in the East, we've got a new school that is focusing on hip-hop that's starting up in Stratford. That is great. That is wonderful. Hip-hop dance technique, for example. But there isn't a school like AkomaAsa at the moment that focuses on the kind of training that mirrors your ballet and contemporary dance schools and so forth. And so that's been one of the challenges, in order to be having the form recognized, you know, teachers valued, supported and welcomed, and the art form itself valued, supported and welcomed. And that stems from what we call institutional racism as well, and a lot of gatekeeping, where the institution and the way they work and the way they function is not embracive of the African dance forms and so forth. The other is also lack of funding. So not enough money is given for organizations that are working with this form to really grow and build and sustain, for example. And that is a really difficult thing. And even sometimes when they apply, the kind of people making the decisions are not familiar with what it is that we're doing. So the decisions that are made tend to go against us. The language that is used, in some applications, also put barriers in front of us, because the language that they are expecting us to communicate with, to express our form, is not the language that they are used to in ticking their boxes and so forth. So there's a lot of barriers when it comes to the funding and being recognized for what it is that we are doing as well. And I've mentioned just racism within systems and institutions and so forth, and lack of visibility. When I say lack of visibility, you need to be able to see yourself somewhere.
Yes.
In order for you to say, oh my gosh, I can do that because I've seen this person do it. And that shouldn't just be Michael Jackson. It shouldn't just be Oprah Winfrey. It shouldn't just be Beyonce. It should be your mother. It should be your father. It should be your auntie. It should be your friends at school. It should be you. We should be everywhere. on TV, in newspapers, for the good stuff, for the right stuff, in commercials. You should be able to see a young boy that looks like you to do something thinking, yeah, I want to be able to do that. Visibility is so key. Being inclusive, being included. Let me change the term of that. Being included enough for enough of you to see yourselves out there, to want to aspire to go and do something. Whether that's flying helicopters, being a stunt person, being a film director, being a singer, being a writer, being an arts administrator, for example, being the boss and the head of Tesco's or whatever, being a designer, being somebody who actually makes and creates glasses. Whatever it is, people of African heritage should have equal footing within societies to go out there so that you're stepping up to do what you can do as a person who is skilled, who has the knowledge, the experience, and the ability and the skills to do the job. Period. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that you should not be judged on your colour of your skin or the country that you come from. So these are only some of the challenges, and they're ongoing, Yeah.
Powerful, really powerful. And for me, I feel quite emotional actually. Well, I completely hear what you're saying about the challenges. For me, being in this industry since it's all I've known since I was 3, and definitely there wasn't anyone that looked like me, and it was certainly challenging. I have friends and colleagues who would have perhaps stayed in the industry if there were more people that looked like us. So I hear it. You look like you want to say something, Jason.
Yes. Racism is not a good thing, and we are trying our best to erase it from the world.
Oh, fantastic. And I'm super pleased. Look at you making a little note. Excellent.
And, with that, on that point, going back to some of the challenges, when we start to talk about unconscious bias, and, stereotyping, which leads to all that, we're talking also about how the curriculum is designed, what you study in schools. You might learn a lot more about the Roman War, Ireland, and various others. You won't learn that much about your Africas and your Caribbeans. So when we start to talk about curriculum and how that is set up and that is designed, it's really something that also needs to change. And we start to look at dance. We're looking at the dance curriculum as well, and then how that is done. And then the other thing also is professional opportunities. People of African heritage are not just singers and dancers and actors. There is so much more in-depth what we do and how we contribute to the world. So, before I said about visibility, it's important for us to be seen and heard in all the areas of excellence that we contribute to, whether it's writing, whether it's architecture and so forth, whether it's design, inventions and all that. It's really important. So that those professional opportunities are also very key. And so, Jace, I hear you on that point, and here we're working on it and doing it together.
I can see on everybody's faces of how interested they are in the stories, and personally I am as well. So I'm going to have to ask you another question.
Fire away.
What do you want people to feel when they watch our performance, because they know that it's not like other clubs' performance?
I want them to be able to, first of all, enjoy it. And then I also want them to feel that actually they can, or they may want to, engage and be part of it as well. I also want them to see the possibilities in the changes we're doing by presenting this kind of this form of dance as well. I want them to see it. I want them to enjoy it. I want it to make them happy, for example, and those are, and the rest is up to them actually, but to see it, to enjoy it, to share it, to want to try and engage in it as well. Yeah.
Because it feels nice to know that we are in a place but we are appreciated from our culture and everything.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And,
the key.
Like once when my parents had watched it, they really liked the African dancing, and they said, because I used to go to like other acting things, like clubs and stuff like that, but my parents said that this one was like they really liked this one because they knew that I learned how to do African dancing, how to do acting, and how to do all that stuff.
So you're talking about how to do dances that are influenced by African dance forms, aren't you? So it's like, so when we tend to say African dance, and you look at Africa, and it's not one country, we've got at least 53. So the kind of dance I'm doing, I'm influenced by dances from the west part of Africa, but I'm also influenced by the diaspora, which is what Africans are doing with dance within, let's say, Britain, for example. And so when I talk about Africa, African dances, I always African dance forms. It means that there are lots of different types, whether that is from Congo, Senegal, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mali, Guinea. So I always think of it as plural, because even in those dances, when I look at Ghana alone, you've got dance forms by different groups, different tribes, by the Asante people, by the Fanti people, by the Ewe people, by the Ga people, by the Nzima people. And so that alone, that's just in Ghana. Do you understand? And so exactly, so there's various different, so when we say African dance, we're looking at Africa as one country. And even in ballet, you've got your various different ballet forms and technique. Even in contemporary, you've got your different contemporary forms that I mentioned earlier on. Do you understand? So when we talk of it, we either have to look at it as specifically saying Adwa, we have to say the form, the Kete form, for example, or the Agbaja, or we have to say the Saba dance or whatever, or we look at it as African dance forms or styles. You see what I mean? So that we don't say African dance, because then that's one dance within the continent of 53 countries, and if you take one country, there is about 5 or 8 different tribes who are doing different dances.
You look like you're itching to say something.
Also, linking to your point as well, about Africa not being as like as you said, one country. As you said, there's about 53 countries. Like the beads from to make the. Well, I can't remember, the thing...
The corset?
Yeah, the corset.
Yes.
And all the beads that are used into the Lion King outfits. Because we watched like a documentary at the Cub Academy, and it said all the beads are from Africa. Which part of Africa?
Okay, and that's a brilliant question. And this is where, when we talked about, I mentioned about funding and the use of language. In the world, we've contributed to using that word as an umbrella term. When I say an umbrella term, we say Africa, and like you said, what part of Africa, where? It's really important we start to change the way we communicate about that, because yes, there are different parts that it comes from, and if they don't know, then it's clear to say yes, we don't know where. But it's important that we give value and we give credit and we give recognition when we speak about Africa and the Caribbeans, and we don't hone the Caribbean into Jamaica, and everybody talks about Jamaica as the Caribbean. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is one island or one part of the Caribbean.
Yes,
a very powerful part of the Caribbean. Let's give it credit in fact. But yeah, I totally agree with you as well. Yeah.
Super, and we definitely need to see a piece of your work because you talk about it so beautifully. But for me, having the experience and the opportunity to see AkomaAsa, one perform at the place, and also where you gracefully invited me to the Black British Theatre Awards at the Lyceum.
That's right, yes.
But there is that unique, beautiful way that you just bring in ballet, contemporary, jazz, African, the drums, like the genre in your piece of music, in your performance piece is absolutely jaw-dropping. And I'm going to go back to when I saw the piece at the place where the dancers announced their heritage,
Yes.
I actually cried. Because it was so powerful, moving, and it's got to be one of the most beautiful pieces, dance performance pieces that young people I have seen in a long time, to just bring in that culture, that ethnicity, that beauty of who you are.
Yeah.
Was genius.
Kaz, you've described it, of who you are. Remember earlier on I said the African and the British, and it goes like this.
Yes.
And what we represent here at AkomaAsa is the freedom to be who you are in your identity, in movement, in song. Yes, the freedom to dance and move and express. And what you're talking about is actually the expressions of who we are as AkomaAsa and as a people and as a culture and as a community and as a society.
Oh yes, we get from the bigger.
Because like sometimes if you look at like if you think of my school, because like my school doesn't like do African dancing, so I really like coming here because
no, mine doesn't either.
because like if you look at most primary schools, they won't provide African dancing or like drumming and stuff like that. So this place makes it super special, because like I can learn like because you can do drumming and music, but you know with like the
Drum kits.
yeah, but like here we don't learn about the drum kits, we learn about the African drums, and like before I came here I didn't know about the djembe or anything, the dum-dum-ba, I think that's how you say it, because if we're being honest here, my school does tap dance, but my school has never thought of introducing African dancing, or like my school does have djembes, but like we don't use them in shows as much as we use ukuleles or guitars.
Oh yes.
So, because here we use drums in the show, and we learn with them every week. And like, for example, my second lesson is drumming, and like we have opportunities to choose what drums, and like, because
How does that make you feel?
it makes me feel good, because like even when you're in a music lesson, it's because like the teacher takes a pause to tell us about the different drums, because when I see the big drums and the small drums, I think they're all the same, but then when the teacher explains that there are the dum-dum-ba, I forgot what the other one is called. Yeah, and then the other one with the sticks, because they're different
The
ones.
kenkenes, the different sizes, and the bass drums,
It explains of how it was, of how like they work and how
And they understand you more.
exactly. And what inspired you to come up with all these amazing pieces and ideas?
And you know, we're in a universe where we are alive as people. And you know, I talked about when I was younger, there was a lot about informal dance learning within the community at family parties and so forth. And you hear people who make music. And when people make music, they influence you to move in a particular way. And I'm very much also, I love freestyle dancing, because with freestyle dancing, you're connecting to the sound that the person is making, the various polyrhythms, the various instruments that are playing with, against, and across each other. And you're also looking at how people dress, how people walk. You're looking at life, the structure, the architecture. All this, everything we do, even when we travel, wherever we go, it imprints on you. And when it imprints on you, it influences how you move. Even seeing Indian dance, there were certain things that I did sometime in my dancing, and that's imprinting on me from another culture, influencing the way I move. And so for me, it's drawing from all these lived experiences and creating a piece of production. So for me, it comes from my experiences, it comes from my love for music, it comes from watching the way other people move, it comes from sometimes an idea, a thought, you know, when I'm trying to keep warm, when I'm watching certain things, doing research back. I love watching Soul Train because I'm a disco child. So you see, sometimes when I do certain work, when it's about all of us being free, it's all quite disco based, and so I love disco and that. So my work comes from my experiences in life, the universe that I live in.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't put boundaries, be it on myself,
It's amazing because like once we were like doing a rehearsal, and it was dance, and basically you just came in to pop in, and basically we were like not giving like African energy. So even though you didn't know the dance or the music, you like just performed it when like you hadn't seen the dance or you hadn't heard the music, because like you can just, when you hear a beat, you just hear it and then you just make up the moves. And then because like when you had done the dance, it was actually a bit relatable to the dance we were actually doing. And I was just there like, wait, so she has had a preview of the dance, and like you're never embarrassed, because like even if we're filming, you will show us and how we're doing. You will say put more energy in it, and like that has given me more confidence, because I used to be a bit shy, but now like when I see you do stuff, I just know that she can do it, then I can do it as well.
What an inspiration. What an inspiration.
And linking to dance, there was a video that we watched at the Club Academy, and they were jumping really high consistently, and they weren't getting tired. They put all their energy into it.
That's right, the dancers, yeah. It is about putting energy. It is about any moments can't be repeated. So whenever you get an opportunity to do something, you take it and you do it to the best of your ability, because that always, as you said earlier, improves your skills and your abilities.
Yes.
You dedicate, commit, and just go for it. Yeah.
Also, I'd like to say you're a bold, really strong and bold woman.
Oh, Jason, you need to come here. Thank you. Pleasure.
Wow, super.
Thank you.
Do you have another question there?
Yes, I do. What's the most exciting part of creating a performance for young people and loved ones to enjoy?
The last word is almost something that's shared. Because if I look at you and I do this, and I'm doing this, what are you doing? You're smiling back. It's infectious. Yeah. And for me, to give joy is to receive joy. And that's one of the most important things for me in regards to what I do. Seeing them start the journey they go, the beginning, the middle and end, and seeing the difficulties, the struggles, the moment when they think they can't do it, the moments when they keep getting it wrong, they get frustrated, they worry. And then as we work through it, with me pushing, and sometimes I shout, let's be honest, some people say I'm not a shouter, sometimes I shout and say, come on, and then when they get it, yes, all my shouting comes from there as well, and it pushes. It's my, I guess, way of driving people, and so when I see them at the end and we've got it, then we go into rehearsal and we do it, and then we put the costumes on, and when we go into performance and we do it, and then you see them come off stage, there's no amount of money that can just give you that
priceless.
Joy. It's priceless. So,
and I'm wondering, are you shouting, or are you giving assertive artistic direction?
Both, I think. It is assertive. The voice does raise, because sometimes like my voice gets passionate, and within that passion it raises and it does shout. And I think there's a sense of negativity that's put around shouting that it sometimes does not have a place there. Shouting has a place, and sometimes you need to shout to give vigor and give power to certain things, and sometimes you give power and vigor by going a different, softer way. So for me, I tend to push.
And in this industry, there is shouting.
Yes.
And it's this book that I have, sort of like Words of Wisdom, and it's as I turn it, if I come across something, I will read it out. This is quite relevant because we're talking about inspiration. Inspiration is the greatest gift because it opens your life to many new possibilities. We need to see this show now. what do you take from that? I am exactly. It's exactly what you were saying with the drums.
Yeah.
Exactly what you were saying.
That was it. I don't even know what to say, but it's like it's a really good piece of music. That it's not like you're using a background music. You're using like the kid's voice and like the kids and like the other person is making the music themselves.
So
They're not using like a
yeah.
backing track.
Yeah.
And because usually if you had shows, sometimes we use backing tracks, but no, here like we use our voices and we use our hands and our stuff like that
to make the music.
Yes.
You're part and part of the whole piece. Yeah.
We use our uniqueness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And you feel it, don't you? You feel it.
Yeah, they are definitely feeling in that performance.
Yeah.
So we have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
What's next for AkomaAsa in terms of projects, performance? What's up and coming? What's coming up?
What's coming up? Oh
Yes.
gosh, a big fundraiser in a theatre that involves every single child at the academy, and that's a crazy vision. Can you imagine that? We need to be raising money for the academy, and one way of doing that is putting on a showcase similar to what you came and saw at the place.
Excellent.
So AkomaAsa and friends, we want to work with Uchenna dance, we want to work with impact dance, we want to work with twin dance, we want to work with Boy Blue, Kenrick, we want to work with Kamara Gray, AYD, we want to work with all the various organisations and put on a production. Be great to have even, Dolly Henry present as well, and, Irie Dance, to be able to work with all the organisations that are influenced by the forms that we talk about, the African dance forms that we talk about, and that, and we're in partnership with Central School of Ballet. Yes,
This is the first time we're hearing on this.
Yeah, actually, this is an
Impact dance.
actually that is just came up because we had a meeting about a week ago that we talked about. We need to raise funds. What's the best way to do that? And the best way is to showcase the beautiful work and the beautiful people we have at the academy.
So we're gonna go across like London to different places to.
Well, we'll start off with a theatre in London first of all, and then if there's other, sub shows that come from there, we don't know yet. But that we know, and that's a show we want to put on.
Fundraiser's good. We're planning a fundraiser for next year. They are a great. Well, I'm hoping a great way that also we can bring in some revenue to our organisation. But okay, so in terms of the next steps and thinking about collaboratively, my question would be, who would you kind of be looking to? I mean, you've mentioned Impact Dance, you mentioned Boy Blue, you've mentioned AYD, Uchenna, yes, all of those. But I'm also wondering if are you looking to collaborate with like a different discipline? What would that look like?
In regards to my work, for example, we're looking to collaborate with a different discipline. What would that look like? At present, I don't know, because my work is always collaborating with a range of artists and the different disciplines and the body and language that they create. I don't know yet, in all honesty. My door is very much open. I would very much love, in fact, to do something. I did some a little while back, to do work with an artist either from Cuba or Brazil.
Yes.
That's an area. Cuba, Brazil, or South Africa.
Yes, sounds like a plan. So, as we come to a close, I want to talk about like legacy. And one of my favourite quotes from Maya Angelou is, "You may never know what your legacy will be, because your legacy is every life you touch."
Well, linking to legacy, what is the legacy you want to leave us?
That is an interesting question, because if you listen to what Kaz has just said, quoting Maya Angelou, you don't know the whole breadth of your legacy. One, because you're not here, and two, you don't always see the fruit of it through the various people you touch, because a lot of people you touch and they move on to do various others. But for me, one powerful one is ensuring that we have a centre, an international centre, a local, national, international centre that represents African and Caribbean art forms and creativity. That would be, and that requires its own building that engages with other institutions, that does international conferences, that young people can locally come and engage, that can house and hold performances and so forth. For me, that would be something really, really magical, as something that I managed to build with the support of others and so forth. I would welcome your help.
Because I've got lots of Lego, I can design it with Lego.
Oh, look at that!
Excellent.
There you go. There you go.
Drawings.
There we go. We've got people, and the vision has
Absolutely.
began.
Definitely. That's
It's not my
And can you
canvas.
imagine if we get the architectures and there can be contributions from young people in regards to different sections of the building,
Yeah.
designing and building them.
We can be bigger and better.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Excellent.
Alrighty.
So this question is asked to all of our guests, which is our
SQ.
signature question.
Okay.
And
What is this?
When did you realise that self-care was important, and what changed for you?
I realized a very, very, very long time ago the importance of self-care. I think at that time, trying to engage it and find a balance and being consistent at implementing it was the difficulty. Now I can say in the last 10 years I am better, be it at self-care. What changed for me was eat, sleep, and lots of laughter. For me, those are three areas. Learning to eat properly and well, and not too much, quality rather than the quantity. Learning to have deep quality sleep and rest was really, really key. And sometimes also resting when you're awake and not when you're sleeping. And letting go, really, really letting go. And then for me, engaging in true, honest, deep laughter with people and sharing love. For me, that's my thing.
Thank you. We're coming to the end now, and we have our sort of final question, which is, what do you want our listeners to take away?
What's your words of wisdom?
What's my words of wisdom? My words of wisdom will be, get to know and connect with yourself. Lead yourself well. Love and care for yourself. And when you are able to, you pay it forward by being able to share that love and care. That's me.
Is a really brief and really, really inspiring speech.
Everything she said was inspiring.
Everything.
Thank you guys.
Everything. It's been an absolute.
You are inspiring.
How wonderful.
Yes, it's been an
Thank you.
absolute inspiration to all of us, to not just us sitting here, but our listeners. You guys as BAMM, Bennu Ambassadors for My Matters, Olivia and Jace, absolutely fantastic. We are just been truly,
Yeah.
truly, what would you say the words are? Truly,
Blown away.
yeah, blown away. We've been truly blown away. So we
Thank
just want to
you.
say a big thank you to Akosua Boakye. This is the KJ podcast. Please subscribe. It's been a pleasure and an honour. Thank you.
What would we do without her?
Yay.
You've been listening to the KJ podcast featuring BAMM, Bennu Ambassadors for Mind Matters. We would like to extend a huge thank you to our guest, KJ jingle by Zenya Adunwo, and voiceover by Bennu Ambassador. Finally, as Kaz would say, take great care of yourself.